Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The VCT Americas bracket has been officially revealed and it is exactly what the predictions seem to indicate. A monster Group B here with ridiculous potential implications and a very easy Group A, it's got to be said, alongside an NRG, arguably blessed, Sentinels and the other teams, especially 100 Thieves, definitely not the case for them. Group C is also kind of ridiculous as well. So much reaction to this in terms of the way the groups are looking around the world. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, just to mention for you guys, the game changers and the regular challengers qualifiers are currently ongoing. So, well, the closed qualifier is now done in the game changer side. The open qualifier continues on February the 6th, and the main event continues in March when everything officially kicks underway. This, though, is for challengers, so the open qualifier begins today. So, as it stands, there's nothing in this bracket, but just to keep your eyes on. So, over the next couple of days, the open qualifier is getting underway. Then, well, open qualifier 1, once you get to top 32, then there's open qualifier 1 for that over the next couple of days. Then there's the second stint. Lots of spots up for grabs here, right? Because many organizations merged or disappeared from challenges over the last year or so. So opportunities definitely there. There will be some fun teams going around as well. Obviously, we saw last year like Sinatra and those guys put a team together. Trick is actually going to play with Will and Kanpeki and a couple of others. That's kind of cool to see. Of course, Kanpeki was briefly on that Sentinels roster. And Will, of course, on 100T, as many of you guys will remember. Just to mention this as well, this was the graphic that Gen.G came out with announcing Solo as the new coach, but it was then deleted, so it was kind of strange to be honest. But yeah, this it seems is what's going to happen. This is going to be the Gen.G skin. Maybe they deleted it because of this skin in the background they were leaking by accident, which is probably what they did. So yeah, Solo's coming in as their new head coach, but also in the background, this is the Gen.G skin, which actually looks really sick. So I think we're going to see more like this for other teams going into the new season. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on those, because I'm sure they're going to be good sellers for the big teams. Yesterday, however, we saw big rumors emerging as to what the bracket was going to be in the Americas, what the groups were going to be, how stacked some of these groups might potentially be. And this was the rumor, based really on nothing more so than just some loose evidence that was put together by an individual on Reddit based on some scrims over the last couple of days. The interesting thing is, though, that apparently some of these teams actually were practicing against each other. The rumor was what we said yesterday, that apparently these teams were not practicing against each other over the last couple of days, and therefore, by extension, they might be in the same group, because if they knew they were in the same group, they wouldn't play against each other, therefore no scrim spotted. But as James actually says, 100T and Sen have scrimmed each other recently. So, this was it seemed to be effectively made up, really, based on this evidence, that, yeah, 100T and Sen had actually scrimmed each other, so that's probably not actually going to be the case. But, well, what do you know? Because Riot come out with it shortly afterwards, and they confirmed that exactly what we predicted, or what was predicted, is exactly what the bracket has ended up being. I don't know how they've decided this. Obviously, Zekken's just doing a bit of impression farming here with a funny one. But, yeah, they confirm what the group stage, the play-ins, the playoffs are going to look like. It's the same across all the regions. But all the drama is about the seeding. What teams should get the #1 seed? What teams should get the other seeds? And, how should it be defined? So this is the overall bracket. Let me just bring it up on the big screen here, because this is pretty outrageous. We've seen this in the other regions as well. The #1 seed always goes over into seed 2. So that in the Pacific was Paper Rex, that in EMEA was Fnatic, and of course the world champions kind of have to be the #1 seed in the Americas, even though they are certainly not the best team in the Americas, I would say, but they're still the #1 seeds, and that's probably fair enough. But the way that it works is that you put two of the weaker teams here. I'm still confused why Bleed play T1 over in Group A, because in the other two regions, the new promoted team is in C1 here against one of the other worst teams. So EG, let's say Crew beat G2. EG have to beat Crew. They then advance straight to beat the winner, or to play the winner of Group A. So, and Group A theoretically is a weaker group. So it's possible, albeit highly unlikely, but it's possible that EG could beat Crew and then beat MIBR, theoretically, if they qualified out of that group, and qualify for Masters Madrid, which feels a bit of a too easy run compared to what some of these other teams are going to have. But that's the advantage you get being the #1 seed. So it just seems like a mega advantage really for EG here, given all they have to do is win one series against probably not a great team in order to qualify for the playoffs, and then from there it's go one step further and try and make it all the way to Masters Madrid by winning simply one more series at that that point. So this is what the rest of the groups look like, though, because, look, we talked about it yesterday. Loud, Sen, Lev, and 100T. I was like, surely not, because the groups are just so monumentally out of balance with how the rosters should theoretically be. But then again, should the decisions be made at all based on that? I mean, they apparently have been made based on last year's results, which does kind of make sense, because if you look at these teams on paper, Sen and 100T, pretty mid rosters, really, and even Lev didn't finish the season particularly strong. So then you look at this side and you see, well, you know, Cloud and they're pretty good. Still, even based on last year, I've got to feel that Group B is stronger. But certainly based on what we have seen now over the last couple of months, that, you know, Sentinels look really good. Potential top 3 team in the world has been discussed with how they've been performing. Loud, so many, you know, still world champions residing in that roster somewhere or another. I think they're going to be a serious force this season, more than some might potentially predict. Then Liv, I mean, they're another team that on paper should be right up there at the top, and they've done well in the offseason. So poor 100T get put alongside that. I mean, I think 100T would qualify from Group A. I mean, I'm looking at Group A and I'm thinking, like, outside of NRG, Furia, C9, MIBR, you know, probably 100T would make it through that one. But they might even make it through Group C. But Group B, it's just such a tall order, right? Then again, if you want to make it to Masters Madrid, you've got to beat some great teams anyway to get there. So, because only 2 spots to make it in the first place. So for me, it's not the end of the world in the sense of, you know, you've got to beat good teams anyway. So if you have to play them in the groups, then get them out of the way type thing. But obviously it reduces the chances. So who's come up with these groups? Because they don't seem balanced on paper. Maybe based on last year's seedings, they make a bit more sense. But the seedings that they've used in the Pacific are different to what they've used elsewhere. So why? You know, like, could they not give some sort of explanation? Or are they just going to say, oh, here you go, guys, here's the groups, and leave it up to our imagination as to exactly why they've decided to do this, and whether certain teams are getting blessed for certain reasons. So as John QT says, cheers, right? Zekan is crying, right? Because, like, obviously for Sentinels, they're not so happy that they have to play probably Loud and then Lev if they win that one to qualify through. And that doesn't even put them to Masters Madrid. I mean, you could beat Loud and Leviathan, 2 probably fantastic teams, or at least very good teams for the new season, and still not make it to Madrid. You've then got to go again, you know, win another series, and it could be against a similar team, who knows? So obviously the social guys were joking around about this, right, and looking at this potential group of death and seeing 100T in there. 100T, I think, can be solid, but it's just a tough draw, right, for the Thieves going against these guys first up. So, you know, and as Sentinels say, thanks, Riot, like, we got this covered, Sentinels versus Loud. Welcome to the group of death featuring 100T, say Sentinels. So, you know, the question was as well, though, from Esports Doug here, like, have NRG somehow got this bracket rigged? Because we don't know how good NRG are going to be. I mean, the rumor is they're not actually looking that hot in practice at the moment, so they do probably still have some serious work to do. But of that group, given how good their roster should be on paper, they will be the big favourites to make it through. Put them in Group B, it's a different story entirely. So definitely feels like NRG have, you know, and I guess these other teams as well, but they've got pretty lucky in terms of the theoretical super teams that people have tried to form. Senna one, Lever another, and then NRG are really the third. They're the only one of those 3 potential super teams. As I say, we don't know how good they're really going to be. There's thoughts either way on that one, but you know, they are in a nice position. So, you know, I'd probably say NRG, and, well, I would almost want to give faith in Cloud9 here, but based on what I saw at the Ludwig Tarek, I'm not so impressed. Maybe NRG Furia make it through this group. I'm probably going to say Sentinels Lev. I do think those are the best 2 teams, but I think a Loud victory here is definitely not off the cards either. And then Group C, the one where EG have a mega advantage, I think that EG will probably make it through somewhere, but who exactly they'll go with, I'm not really sure at the moment. So, yeah, John QT not so happy about this eventuality, it seems, for the guys, and Chet does say that, well, look, nobody at Riot even likes me because I complain all the time about the other things they do, so, you know, there's absolutely no way they've been rigging it for my team, but, you know, we'll see. I mean, according to James F as well, this is the likelihood for the tournament based on scrims and off-season events, kickoff only type stuff. So this is what he's come up with here, which is actually quite fascinating because of just how, well, separate some of the teams are, but also who's at the top, because according to scrims, apparently, Loud are looking really good. So it's allowed Sentinels, potentially the two best teams in the Americas, then NRG and Lev, then C900T EG all in the same tier. Then you've got G2, Furia, Crew, MIBR to round things out. So pretty fascinating, it's got to be said, looking at this tier list of where the teams might potentially be and seeing that Group B is literally 2S tier, 1A tier, 1B tier, all the way down to 100T. So not sure that seems fully balanced to me, but very much intrigued to your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. I will just mention quickly for you guys, I'm back from Boston now from the Call of Duty event, so I still couldn't get the video done in time for the normal time today, but with any luck tomorrow, back to the normal time, and therefore then on out for, well, hopefully as long as we can do that until probably the next event that I go to, which will be in a little while, so that should be okay. And of course, between now and then, there'll be lots of Valorant related type stuff going on. We've got the Challengers qualifiers that we talked about earlier on in the video, and then the VCT kicks off middle of February with the kickoff event, and then 8 teams of all the regions, 2 from each region, qualify to Masters Madrid. That goes down 8 team. I think it's like an 8-team Swiss system. It's really weird. I know that lots of people have been saying, and I think for good reason, why only 8 teams at Masters Madrid? Surely 12, 16. I think there's an argument that 8 teams should be the playoffs, not the entire tournament, really. But look, that's what they're trying to do because they want to go from Masters 1, Masters 2 to then Champions being bigger and better every time. But I'm not really sure that's necessarily necessary, and also not sure it's a great idea in the first place. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.